Haha, hello. Good evening, all. Welcome to our little Wednesday live stream. A bit earlier than usual, but I thought I'd just try out starting at 6, not 7, as we normally do, because everyone always complains that I start at exactly the same time as everyone else. So I figured what we do is we'd, have an hour's stream. We'd have an hour's stream. We'd be a bit early, and we'd do what we normally do. Basically, we'll just, we'll see how it goes. Tonight, I thought we'd revisit some classics. I thought we'd revisit what Galloway's been up to. I thought we'd have a dip into GB News. Maybe we'll have a look at Jeff Taylor. If anyone else, by the way, if anyone else you know out there that you want me to sort of cover their bizarre, should we say, crazy political takes, let me know in the chat and I'll have a look them up on YouTube, and we'll think about covering them next time. But yeah, as always, yes, hello, Cathal OG, I can see you there in the chat. Hello to you, everyone else. Hello out there. So let's get to some classics. It's not a good video unless it's a Jeff Taylor session. So let's start off with some Jeff. What we going to start? Oh, Henk, Jeffrey Donaldson. Does Jeffrey Donaldson have a YouTube channel? Or what's Jeffrey been up to? Let's have a look. That might be fun to watch. Jeffrey Donaldson gives evidence to the House of Lords on Northern Ireland Protocol. That might be quite fun to watch. We'll have to have a look. But yeah, Galloway's done some more crazy takes on Ukraine. So we'll be looking at those definitely later. Again, Henk, good evening to you from the Netherlands. FSM, howdy to you. Veet Crew, greetings and salutations back to you as well. Like I say, we're going to have a cover. Colin Thompson, greetings from New York. Yeah, you don't throw plates and ketchup. Yeah, that was a bizarre thing. The stuff that's been coming out of the January 6th committee about what Trump's got up to. And apparently, according to the woman who was giving testimony, not the first time, apparently, because didn't he assault his driver or something like that? He like leaned across to the driver to like say, no, we're going this way, and like properly like elbowed him or something like that. There's a ton of stuff coming out recently about the January 6th committee, and I fully expect that to go on. Simon, give more attention to the good ones. Well, yeah, if you know anyone, like I say, if you know anyone that we want to sort of cover more, because like I say, we're going to cover some stuff on Jeff. We'll be covering that. He tried to grab the he tried to grab the wheel, and when he stopped, lunges for the driver. Yeah. PBS NewsHour gives great coverage. Tell you what, should we do that instead? Yeah. Let's see if we can find that, because that's fascinating to watch. Let's see if we can find that. Hang on. And 6th committee. Here we are. Don't want to watch a 2-hour stream. There are no highlights. Here we are. Here's one. Right, okay. So yeah, we'll cover this one. We demand Matt Green comedy refills with every Jeff video played. Yes, indeed. Stop Brexit. You'll be glad to know, apparently, Steve Bray was once again out this morning. He has bought some more speakers, although how long that will last, I'm not 100% sure. Can you imagine attacking a Secret Service agent, a guy trained to kill? Yeah. Finny Bird, greetings to you. Rachel Maddow. Oh yes, I saw that as well. Yes, the Mark Elliott interview. Yeah, that might be good to have a look at as well later on. Oh yeah, there was that as well. Yeah. Oh my word. Liz Truss looking absolutely incompetent on in like the Foreign Select Committee meeting. That was something we have to watch. Thank you for bringing that up, Gluttonous. Yeah, we'll bring that up as well at some point. So we'll watch these Trump things because this is just insane. Here we are. So hopefully you can all see that. There we go. Similar, good evening from Helsinki. Jay, hello to you. Christina Cruz, hello to you. I think we've welcomed everyone now so far. If we've not just missed anyone, no, good. So yeah, we'll play this and see what, because the stuff that's coming out of this is crazy. I can't believe half the stuff. I mean, before we go into this, I've always said there will be 2 books I would be fascinated to read. One is sort of the Theresa May years, from her taking over to when she left. That will be fascinating to read, but also what went on behind the scenes during like all the Trump administration, from like an insider, like dishing the dirt, because some serious stuff went on when that happened, and we're just hearing about some of it now. But yeah, when that book finally comes out, that is going to be insane. Anyway, let me know if you can hear this as well. Oh, by the way,
you remember Mr. Giuliani meeting with Mr. Meadows on January 2nd, 2021?
I do. He met with Mr. Meadows in the evening of January 2nd, 2021.
And we understand that you walked Mr. Giuliani out of the White House that night, and he talked to you about January 6th. What do you remember him saying?
He looked at me and said something to the effect of, "Cass, are you excited for the 6th? It's going to be a great day." I remember looking at him and saying, "Rudy, did you explain what's happening on the 6th? He had responded something to the effect of, "We're going to the Capitol. It's going to be great. The president's going to be there. He's going to look powerful. He's going to be with the members. He's going to be with the senators. Talk to the chief about it. Talk to the chief about it. He knows about it."
And did you go back then up to the West Wing and tell Mr. Meadows about your conversation with Mr. Giuliani?
I went back up to our office and I found Mr. Meadows in his office on the couch. He was scrolling through his phone. I remember leaning against the doorway and saying, "I had an interesting conversation with Rudy. Mark, sounds like we're going to go to the Capitol." He didn't look up from his phone and said something to the effect of, "There's a lot going on, Cass, but I don't know. Things might get real, real bad on January 6th.
When a president speaks.
So, January the 6th was interesting. I mean, it's one of those things where, you know, my parents sort of remember where they were when like JFK got shot. And I remember I'd just come back in, and the first thing I saw, I think they were about almost like 2 hours into the riots that took place that day. And I just remember watching, watching the rest of it. I was just like, this is crazy. What on earth is happening here? And the more we have found out about January the 6th, the more and more we've come to realize this wasn't just a random occurrence. This was full on planned. There was a serious attempt at having a coup. I think it was it yesterday during these talks or during these hearings, or certainly one of them. You had talks about Mike Pence wanting to follow through with this coup, but he wouldn't do it because he was unsure about the legal ramifications. Yeah, the more and more we hear about this, the worse it becomes. Oh, sound feedback, is it? Hang on a second, let me put some earplugs in. We're going to be watching some videos. I better put some earplugs in. Hang on. Go. Hold on. I've got to check my mic settings on here because it will have changed, because I don't know why it always does that. Yeah, it's changed again. There we go. Back to the regular mic. Always does this every time I put in that. Always adopts the new one. Yeah, you are right. People who brought, spontaneous gallows, spontaneous gallows. Yeah, it was a spontaneous riot. We've only just pretended to bring these, gallows. Ignore the rest that's going on, right? Ignore that.
The Secret Service typically requires those attending to pass through metal detectors, known as magnetometers, or MAGs for short. The Select Committee has learned that people who willingly entered the enclosed area for President Trump's speech were screened so they could attend the rally at the Ellipse. They had weapons and other items that were confiscated: pepper spray, knives, brass knuckles, tasers, body armor, gas masks, batons, blunt weapons. And those were just...
Yeah. That's what you take. Yeah, you take your knives, your batons, your pepper spray, your brass knuckles. Yeah, guys, we're going on a peaceful protest. Bring your brass knuckles. This is, I thought the first lot of revelations we got about January the 6th were, were pretty wild. But these hearings, my word, these hearings just bring out more and more stuff about it. And it's what's going to happen next. Are any of these people going to be charged? Is Trump going to get charged for this? Yeah, that's what you take to see a Trump rally. Yeah, you take your brass knuckles.
From the people who chose to go through the security for the president's event on the Ellipse. not the several thousand members of the crowd who refused to go through the mags and watched from the lawn near the Washington Monument. The Select Committee has learned about reports from outside the magnetometers and has obtained police radio transmissions identifying individuals with firearms, including AR-15s, near the ellipse on the morning of January 6th. Let's listen.
I am shocked that a firefight didn't break out. I am really, really shocked that a proper fight shootout didn't start. Yeah, you are right. He ought to get charged. It's whether or not, of course, that's the other matter, really, isn't it? It's always been the other matter with Trump. He ought to get, charged or, sent to court and have his day in court. But it's will he actually, follow through and happen? Yep. Pretty bird. Yeah, all they needed was a lead pipe and a candlestick for a game of Clue. Yeah, that's what they were doing. They weren't rioting. They were just performing the world's largest Clue functionary. That's what they were really doing. What, Kirsten? If Steve Bray had remembered his brass knuckles, the police wouldn't have taken his sound system. Well, he would have probably been arrested because brass knuckles are illegal in the UK, but Colin Thompson. Because the UK is dealing with Boris, inflation, the protocol, and Priti Patel, perhaps all the political mystery of others will help. Yeah, it does. I always said this. When we used to start the Good Morning Walk originally, we used to start with our morning piece from America. Because I will tell you this now. Things are bad in the UK. Things are really, really bad politically. And we haven't got a good set of people that are actually going to help improve any of these problems currently in Boris Johnson's government. Even if you got rid of Boris Johnson and you brought in someone new, who in the Tory party is really capable of going to fix the current problems the UK is facing? To be honest, not a lot of them. It will be a general election that replaces the Tories. Ultimately, I think it's probably going to be a Labour-Lib coalition, and of course, we can hope that when that happens, we do get some good PR going on. I know Keir Starmer has come out today and said that he's not interested in PR, but when the vast majority of your party is calling now for PR, and last conference, and certainly this conference, once again, there is going to be a call for PR. The call doesn't stop. And here's the thing. Political campaigns, if you lose once, like we lost, last year's vote for PR, you keep on pushing. You keep on going. You don't just stop because you lost once, especially if you really believe in sort of changing sort of the UK's political system. You really have to keep on going. Just because you fail once, you have to go again. And I've said it a couple of times before on this channel, we have reached a point in PR where not only do we have to raise awareness about what PR is and how it would really change and how those changes would benefit the UK, we have to also now go into sort of second mode. We have to start educating people on what type of PR we are going to do. And also, one thing you'll notice a lot of people, their main criticism against PR, a lot of the main criticism is, oh my God, we'll lose MPs. We'll lose that, function with the government. But you've just got to bring up the fact that if you walked into any town in the UK, most people could not name their MP. That's the first one. The second of all is MP surgeries. Next to no one turns up to MP surgeries. Yeah, people might email their MP or, Twitter. But to say that the quote people would lose that link is not exactly there right now. And even under a PR system, you can keep MPs. It would just be a different way that these, MPs get selected under a different system. Do you think Clement Attlee could have created the NHS under PR? Yes, absolutely. He could have created under PR. Absolutely. Yeah. How could you not know your MP? You only have one. Oh, you would be surprised. You would be surprised. Because the big problem in the UK is political apathy. That is really the biggest problem. A lot of people don't vote because of it, and a lot of people just aren't interested in politics, or if they like to talk about it, aren't interested in getting engaged. There was a lot of people in Wakefield who last week did not go out to vote to make their voices heard. And I've always said that is a massive shame when people do not go out and vote, regardless of whether you vote Labour, Tory, Lib Dem, SNP. You should always go out and vote. I am a big advocate of, doesn't matter what you do or who you be voting for, go out and vote. So anyway, that's my political advocacy done for today. So never has been a hunger in never has been hunger in democracy. Are there hunger in the UK? UK needs democracy badly, and they need it now. Tories are encouraging apathy. Yep, very true. They're all the same. So rather than voting against the Tories, people don't vote. Very true. And one of the things we definitely got to get through to people is, if you don't vote, you're helping the Tories, because it is so the right in particular has such a fanatical way when it comes to voting. If you've ever gone and talked to like conservatives, very often they are never ever not talking out about not voting or not going to vote, or making sure that they are scheduling time to go out and vote. And here's the thing: old people go out and vote in droves. And it's old people that do generally tend to vote, conservative most of the time. So FSM, it does matter if you vote for. Yeah, yes, it does. But when in the UK you have the biggest voting block of people being people who do not vote, that's very important. You get a postal vote. Yep. Like I say, lots of ways to vote nowadays. Obviously postal, in person. You can write a letter and say, I'm doing an absentee vote. There's all kinds of ways to vote. People don't know it. That's why you may remember just a couple of months ago where I was gushing over that South Yorkshire mayoral leaflet we got, because that was just so good. It explained what it was you were voting for, the role that was on offer, and why South Yorkshire Mayor, what the role does, how to vote, what your ballot paper means, how to find out where to go and vote if you needed to. And oh, by the way, here's a list of all the candidates with what they are standing for. I would love that to be posted out at every single election. I really, really would. Yeah, that is the old traditional argument. If you don't vote, you can't criticize the government. Yeah. Anyway, we're getting madly off topic. Let's go back to these hearings. Yeah.
There's an individual who's in a tree. He's gonna be a white male, about 6 feet tall, thin build, brown cowboy boots. He's got blue jeans and a blue jean jacket, and underneath the blue jean jacket, the complainants both saw a stock of an AR-15. He's gonna be with a group of individuals, about five to eight other individuals. Two of the individuals in that group at the base of the tree near the porta potties were wearing green fatigues, green olive drab style fatigues, about 5'8", 5'9", skinny white males, brown cowboy boots. They had Glock style pistols in their waistband.
8736 with the message that subject weapon on his right hip. After that, he's in the tree.
Motor 1, make sure BPD knows they have an elevated threat in the tree south side of Constitution Avenue. Look for the Don't Tread on Me flag, American flag face mask, cowboy boots, weapon on the right side hip.
I got 3 men walking down the street in fatigue while carrying AR-15. Copy at 14th and Independent.
Is it your understanding that Mr. Ornato told the president?
Yeah, there were a lot of weapons. Not only that, of course, the pipe bombs that were found. Lest we forget those explosives that were also found that day as well. How this did not turn out even worse, I think, they got away so lucky. The amount of weapons you just saw reported there, AR-15s, Glocks, it could have been so much worse. Yeah. This is the problem in the USA. Until you fire, you won't commit a crime. You'd think, though, that especially in like a federal area, it's Washington, D.C., I believe it is. I'm not exactly 100% sure how it works. You would think in that particular area where there is that amount of politicians, and of course, where the president is, you would think at that moment, blanket gun ban. No guns here. If you even come, into sort of Dodge City, you get immediately arrested with a gun. You've got to leave your gun on the outskirts, But, that's only a European talking sense about gun control. But hey, what do I know? Hey.
President about weapons at the rally on the morning of January 6th.
That's what Mr. Ornato relayed to me.
And here's how you characterize Mr. Meadows' general response when people raised concerns about what could happen on January 6th.
So at the time, in the days leading up to the 6th, there were lots of public reports about how things might go bad on the 6th, and even the potential for violence. If I'm hearing you correctly, what stands out to you is that Mr. Meadows did not share those concerns, or at least did not act on those concerns?
Did not act on those concerns would be accurate.
But other people raised them to him, like in this exchange, you mentioned that Mr. Ornato pulled him aside.
That's correct.
Ms. Hutchinson, we're going to show now an exchange of texts between you and Deputy Chief of Staff Ornato. And these text messages were exchanged while you were at the ellipse. In one text, you write, "But the crowd looks good from this vantage point as long as we get the shot. He was effing furious." And the text messages also stress that President Trump kept mentioning the OTR and off-the-record movement. We're going to come back and ask you about that in a minute. But could you tell us, first of all, who it is in the text who was furious?
The he in that text that I was referring to was the president.
And why was he
think this is
furious, Ms. Hutchinson?
He was furious because he wanted the arena that we had on the ellipse to be maxed out at capacity for all attendees. The advance team had relayed to him that the mags were free flowing. Everybody who wanted to come in had already come in, but he still was angry about the extra space and wanted more people to come in.
And you told us, Ms. Hutchinson, about particular comments that you heard while you were in the tent area.
When we were in the offstage announce area tent behind the stage, he was very concerned about the shot, meaning the photograph that we would get, because the rally space wasn't full. One of the reasons, which I previously stated, was because he wanted it to be full and for people to not feel excluded because they'd come far to watch him at the rally. And he felt the mags were at fault for not letting everybody in. But another leading reason, and likely the primary reason, is because he wanted it full and he was angry that we weren't letting people through the mags with weapons, what the Secret Service deemed as weapons and our weapons. But when we were in the offstage announce tent, I was part of a conversation. I was in the vicinity of a conversation where I overheard the president say something to the effect of, I don't effing care that they have weapons. They're not here to hurt me. Take the effing mags away. Let my people in. They can march to the Capitol from here. Let the people in. Take the effing mags away.
Just to be clear, Ms. Hutchinson, is it your understanding that the president wanted to take the mags away and said that the armed individuals were not there to hurt him?
That's a fair assessment.
Let's turn now to what happened in the president's vehicle when the Secret Service told him he would not be going to the Capitol after his speech. First, here is the president's motorcade leaving the ellipse after his speech on January 6th. Ms. Hutchinson, when you returned to the White House in the motorcade after the president's speech, where did you go?
When I returned to the White House, I walked upstairs towards the Chief of Staff's office, and I noticed Mr. Ornato lingering outside of the office. Once we had made eye contact, he quickly waved me to go into his office, which was just across the hall from mine. When I went in, he shut the door, and I noticed Bobby Engel, who is the head of Mr. Trump's security detail, sitting in a chair, just looking somewhat discombobulated and a little lost. I looked at Tony, and he had said, "Did you effing hear what happened in the Beast?" I said, "No, Tony, I just got back. What happened?" Tony proceeded to tell me that when the president got in the Beast, he was under the impression from Mr. Meadows that the off-the-record movement to the Capitol was still possible and likely to happen, but that Bobby had more information. So once the president had gotten into the vehicle with Bobby, he thought that they were going up to the Capitol, and when Bobby had relayed to him, we don't have the assets to do it, it's not secure, we're going back to the West Wing, the president had very strong, a very angry response to that. Tony described him as being irate. The president said something to the effect of, "I'm the effing president, take me up to the Capitol now." To which Bobby responded, "Sir, we have to go back to the West Wing." The president reached up towards the front of the vehicle to grab at the steering wheel. Mr. Engel grabbed his arm, said, "Sir, you need to take your hand off the steering wheel. We're going back to the West Wing. We're not going to the Capitol." Mr. Trump then used his free hand to lunge towards Bobby Engel. And when Mr. Ornato had recounted this story to me, he had motioned towards his clavicles.
And was Mr. Engel in the room as Mr. Ornato told you this story?
He was.
Did Mr. Engel correct or disagree with any part of the story from Mr. Ornato?
Mr. Engel did not correct or disagree with any part of the story.
This might be another one.
The Congressional Committee
we go.
investigating the
That one.
Today was the first time Hutchinson publicly appeared before the committee, but she has spoken several other times behind closed doors and in video from those depositions than he wanted.
See if we can find
wanted
it.
His free hand to lunge towards Bobby Engel, and when Mr. Renato had recounted this story.
Time and again, all of the warnings.
Do something more. They're literally calling for the vice president to be effing hung. And Mark had responded something to the effect of, "You heard him, Pat. He thinks Mike deserves it. He doesn't think they're doing anything wrong."
The big
was in his office on the couch. He was scrolling through his phone. I remember leaning against the doorway and saying, "I just had an interesting conversation with Rudy, Mark. Sounds like we're going to go to the Capitol." He didn't look up from his phone and said something to the effect of, "There's a lot going on, Cass, but I don't know. Things might get real, real bad on January 6th. That evening was the first moment that I remember feeling.
Yeah, you get the idea. The more and more we find out about January the 6th, the crazier and crazier it is. And, you know, sometimes, as I've said earlier on, you know, things aren't good in the UK politically at the moment. But when you look at other countries, sometimes you're going to wonder, you know, at least it's as bad as in other places as well, which, of course, isn't a good thing. But, you know, I feel like, you know, me and my sort of American viewers out there, we can sympathize with each other and go, you know, it's rough, buddy. It's rough out, you know. That's how I generally feel about some of this stuff sometimes. But yeah, it wasn't crazy. It was a coup. Yeah, it certainly was a coup, and you know, the more and more we hear about it, there's, you know, degrees of how worse it could have been. And don't get me wrong, what happened on January the 6th was bad, but it could have been even worse. Could have been even worse. Imagine if those, you know, the guys, you know, in the coup had, well, pulled out those Glocks and those AR-15s and started opening up on the police, or, you know, shooting at the building. Yeah, could have gone even worse. Not that it wasn't bad on January the 6th. Could have gone even worse. Anyway, I've just been trying to find Liz Truss at the Select Committee. Just trying to find her, and I can't find her. There's so many. It's easy to find a Liz Truss video, but it's not. It's not easy to find the one you want. Liz Truss faces questions over immigration policy. Hilarious moment. Liz Truss accidentally sits on MPs in the Commons. This will be good. This was from 3 weeks ago. This was from 3 weeks ago, but I think this will. Hang on, wrong button. Well, I'm pressing there. This will be quite fun to watch. This is Liz Truss talking down. This is Liz Truss talking down her leadership ambitions. So obviously this was not long or before after the vote of no confidence.
Yesterday's vote was a clear majority in support of the Prime Minister. And what we've been doing today is getting on with the business of government. We've had a cabinet meeting. We're working on making housing more affordable, making childcare more affordable, lowering taxes. And that's what the public want us to be doing.
And yet they're not doing any of that. You know? Maybe you should actually get on with delivering those people's priorities, guys. Just, you know, just a thought.
Prime Minister's authority, though, if we go back to that first question, has it been undermined?
As I said, the Prime Minister remains committed to our agenda. He's already delivered on Brexit. He's delivered on COVID, on helping the economy recover. He's delivered on supporting Ukraine in the face of appalling Russian aggression. And that's what the cabinet want him to carry on doing. And that's what the country wants him to carry on doing.
So what's your message to those 148 of your colleagues who declared they had no confidence in the party leader?
My message is we had a vote yesterday. There was a clear result in that vote. Now is the time to get behind the Prime Minister, to deliver on what people in Britain want to see, which is dealing with issues around the affordability of housing, the affordability of childcare, getting taxes down, getting our economy going. That's what people want to see.
And what does this mean with regard to your ambitions, potentially, for the leadership of the party?
My 100% focus is on my role as Foreign Secretary. There's a lot to do. We need to carry on supporting Ukraine. We need to make sure that Russia is driven out of Ukraine and that we get successful peace for Ukraine. We need to help them rebuild. I'm also working on the Northern Ireland Protocol, making sure we restore the balance of the Belfast Good Friday Agreement, bringing forward legislation. And I can assure you that is taking up all of my time.
Should colleagues feel able to continue to criticise the Prime Minister?
Yes, it's taking up all my sweet time trying to help Boris fulfill, quote, the will of the people. Meanwhile, we know full well that both Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak have been having, shall we say, plenty of private dinners with their other colleagues. So, yeah, I'm sure getting on with the job and certainly planning to replace Boris Johnson. Because as we said before, Liz Truss, if she gets down to the final two, she wins. She certainly wins, which is very terrifying. I'll say that now. The fact that she is the front runner to win this. Oh, here we go. This just in. You're gonna want to watch this. Jeff Taylor has done a video on Steve Bray. Let's watch this one, shall we? Oh, let's get into this. There we go. Yeah, very true. Ed 2, Lizzie. Ed 2. That would be very good, yeah. So yeah, this is Jeff Taylor, the guy who, once again, people on the right talking, oh, free speech is under threat in this country. You know, they're taking away our history. They're taking away our statue. Aren't these protests they're doing all horrible? Let's see what Jeff has to say about Steve Bray.
Hello there. That excessively...
Oh my God, is there a loud buzzing I think that's coming from his video. So unfortunately, I can hear a really high-pitched buzzing, and I think this is coming from Jeff's video. So I do apologize about the buzzing that you can hear in the video. Hang on, because it's a Jeff video. We'll just speed it up.
Loud Brexit bore has at last had his loud hailer confiscated. In great news for anyone with sense passing by Westminster, that obnoxious anti-Brexit bore Steve Bray, although I gather that's not his real name, has had his megaphone amplifier removed by the Met Police. And if he resisted, he'd have been arrested. And all down to the new laws that prevent overly loud protest. And in the
these laws are absolutely ridiculous, and I'm really glad to see that Steve and a number of people have funded now a legal challenge to go up against these laws. So that is going to be fun to watch the government squirm when it happens here. Yeah, smile, yeah. At least Boris can trust Nadine won't stab him in the back. Well, depends if the stabbing wants to happen the other way around, certainly with Nadine, but we'll see.
Case of Bray, it's not a moment too soon. Now, in a tweet, Bray said he'd been summoned and that he'd go for trial by jury, and the lefties are queuing up to crowdfund it. But as I...
Oh no. Oh no. How dare someone crowdfund this? Yeah. 100K in 24 hours. I'm not surprised if it's even more than that now. By the way, if anyone wants to throw the link out in chat, I'll very gladly promote that. Oh, P, good evening to you. If you are just joining us, we are watching the Jeff Taylor video on Steve Bray. So prepare for the height of the political takes on the Steve Bray situation from Jeff Taylor.
I understand it, you can only elect for trial by jury in the Crown Court, i.e. for really serious crimes. In the Magistrates' Court for lesser crimes, magistrates or a district judge mete out the justice. And I'm not sure that a noisy protest would make it to the Crown Court. Anyway, Steve Bray hasn't given up. He later tweeted that he'd bought 3 more amplifiers identical to the one the police had taken away. And earlier on today, he got up to his antics once again, got stopped by the police, warned again, and this time Alistair Campbell was there on the spot to insert his tuppence worth, saying good luck to Bray, and also saying that Bray's doing a good job.
Yeah, Alistair Campbell, exactly right. He is doing that. He's doing a good job. These laws are absolutely bogus. It is completely stupid to try and pass rules against noisy protests. Have you ever been to a protest that isn't noisy? It's absolutely crazy. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me that once again you've got people on the right celebrating this as some sort of a win. This is ultimately, like I said, he has said he's going to challenge it. It's going to be taken to court. It will probably end up going to the Supreme Court because it's certainly got the legs to do it. And the Supreme Court, as a lot of legal scholars have already pointed out, that the second you go, look, these laws infringe upon someone's right to protest, what's the government going to do then? What's Priti Patel going to do when her favorite law meant to, tackle Extinction Rebellion gets struck down by the Supreme Court? I wouldn't be surprised if we get to see the Daily Mail once again trotting out that good old headline. Look at the these evil judges taking away our precious laws again. Yeah.
Is that incitement to break the law with loud protests? Anyway, at about 4 p.m, Bray was once again outside Parliament with an amp at full volume, and he said, "Not sure where all the police have gone, and I don't care either." I've got to say that Steve Bray probably owes his fame and his fortune to Brexit. Without it, where would he be? So I do wonder if when he slinks back home of a night, he walks through the door, looks heavenward and says, "Thank you for Brexit."
Probably not. But that's how these go anyway. But yeah. Oh, hold on a second. I've forgotten I had a meeting today. Hold on. Might have to finish early. Second. There we go. Yeah, completely forgot about that. That completely slipped my mind. So yeah, once again, Jeff touting. Well, what can you say? This is the height of hypocrisy. If this was someone on the right who was doing these protests, and let's say it was against Tony Blair, maybe against Jeremy Corbyn, Keir Starmer, Jeff Taylor would be all over this. He would be saying that these people are absolutely the worst fascist dictators he had ever come across. But because it's, Steve Bray and someone left, all of a sudden, rights, freedom of speech, right to protest, laws that we need to, function properly as democracy, all completely get thrown out the window because, well, if it's happening to a lefty, surely it must be good. So with that, yeah, because I've completely forgotten. Like I say, I had a meeting today at 7 o'clock. So yeah, we've got to wrap this up now. So hope you've enjoyed this this very quick, short live stream today. Maybe I'll make it up to you tomorrow, and we'll do a live stream later on in the week. Obviously, we've got the Good Morning Walk on Saturday, as always. Watch out for more video content we've got coming out this week. Please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button on your way out. And of course, down below there is a link to my Patreon page and an invitation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much for everyone coming along today. Like I say, sorry it's only been an hour. I completely forgotten that I had that meeting. But another news as well. Watch out on the channel in a couple of coming days. I've said before, I've taken on a graphic designer for a company, and I've just been to see today the designs, the new channel designs for the new logos, the new headers that are going to go on the YouTube channel, the new badges that are going to get made. Oh, thank you very much, Cathalo G. Perfect timing. As you can see, Cathalo G here has a little symbol at the end. We've got new symbols coming up for stuff. Thank you very much for the super chat as well, by the way, Cathal. Steve nearly tourist tracks now. That's very true. So we're going to get a whole new series of emojis, badges, all sorts of stuff new coming to the channel. So watch out for those. Hopefully coming very, very soon. Like I say, I've seen the first design today and I absolutely loved it. The guys at Ginger Fox Studio, who I'm getting to do the design, have done an absolutely fantastic job. I'm really looking to getting to share it all the rest with you guys. So as always, thank you very much for joining us today. We'll see you all very soon again.